Heyo, OmniDogs and OmniKittens. It's OmniDog here with a special edition of OmniDog's Vault. This is Should I Upgrade from, say, a trade paperback to the hardcover. This is going to be my guide as to what I would do, and you, of course, are going to have your opinions based on art, writing, how much you love the story, what you had to do to track down the originals, things like that. This is for collected editions, and people wonder, is it worth the upgrade to go from the original collected edition to something supposedly superior? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Let's start with an example. First example, Black Hammer. Fabulous book. I'm not going to review any of these books. I'll just say I love them all. That's why I own them, and that's why I'm talking about them. But Black Hammer, you probably already know about it, how great it is. Should I upgrade this book? Well, the answer is yeah. Look at the size difference between the Black Hammer Library Edition and the Black Hammer paperback. This book is amazingly big and a real bargain at $50, and you can probably get it cheaper than that. It has really interesting art that's beautiful, and I haven't properly relaxed the spine on this, as you can tell, because it's cracking. But big glossy pages, great story. This is the perfect example of a book that you want to upgrade. Sorry about that word there. That is part of the book, but I didn't need to show you that. So you definitely should upgrade Black Hammer because you want this fabulous book in beautiful colors and a beautiful size. Definitely upgrade that. And while we're talking about Dark Horse editions, if you're a Hellboy fan and all you've got are the trade paperbacks, these library editions are a bargain and beautifully done. Crazy good art, of course. Mignola's art and writing. And these Hellboy library editions are fantastic. Definitely consider upgrading if you are a Hellboy fan at all and you don't have these these library editions. These are huge oversized books for only $50, and you can probably find it cheaper online somewhere or at your local comic store if they give you a discount because you're a good customer or a good person. You never know. Here's a book that I don't own in oversized format, but I am going to upgrade. I don't always upgrade, and we'll get to that in a little bit. This is Monstress. This is volume 3. This, everybody knows, most people know, maybe you know how great this book is. And the artwork, not only is it super well written, but it is beautiful drawings. And this will look stunning in an oversized edition. A lot of times I do not upgrade from trades to deluxe editions just because of the cost factor. You know, I don't want to double dip necessarily. But when it comes to a beautiful book like Monstrous that's drawn incredibly well, I will upgrade. And you should consider it too. Another good example of a book that's beautifully done. This is the upgraded version of Lady Mechanika in hardcover. And if you feel like I'm going too fast, I've written all these down, and I will be listing them in the notes section, so you'll be able to reference what I suggested and what I talk about. Lady Mechanika is a book that I dearly love, and the art on these glossy pages is stunning. Joe Benitez does a great job on the artwork in this first volume, and the art is just great. So oversized art is a real reason that you want to see a book in a deluxe edition. This is very much bigger than the paperback, comes with a nice dust jacket, and it's one of my favorite books, so I would definitely upgrade this. Now, sometimes I'm not going to upgrade. Even if it's just a standard size. This is an oversized book, but it took me a lot to find these books. A couple of them were out of print, and I really had to hunt hard and long to find these books. And one of them is Ex Machina, Brian K. Vaughan's Ex Machina. It's the omnibus is going to be the same size as this book, the same height and width. It's going to have, as far as I know, it hasn't been recolored, but there's 5 of these things, and it took me a while to track them all down. I personally don't see the benefit, unless you're an omnibus fanatic. That's a different story. You probably want the omnibus. That would be people like the omnibus collector himself. But this is an oversized book already, and I'm not going to upgrade it. So that's a personal choice for you, but I'm just telling you what I would do. Ex Machina, keeping the oversized deluxe editions. Now here's a book that many people upgraded to. It has great art, great story. You already know the book really well. That is, and it's still sealed, don't jam me up, I read it already twice in singles, Preacher. Now this is a standard size book with great art. I sunk a lot of dough into these standard size books, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. That was a big investment. At $40 a book, I probably got them for 42% off at in-stock trades, but still, that's a lot of money. But the absolutes contain a lot of extras. So you may want to consider upgrading, especially if you've got trade paperbacks. This is a very famous run, so you may want to consider that. I'm not going to, because I already sunk a ton of dough into these standard size hardcovers. Not everything I'm saying are you going to agree with. Obviously, that's cool. It's a personal choice. I'm just trying to guide you. Now here's a book that is an oversized hardcover. Why the Last Man, Brian K. Vaughan. Great story, but the absolute contains nothing extra. Zero, zip, nada. So you'd get this fabulous art on bigger pages, but you're not getting extras like you do in Preacher. So this is a bigger book. This is the deluxe edition. And I sunk real money into these, but I would hesitate to recommend an upgrade to the absolute because there are no extras in it. And as a matter of fact, I did upgrade to Why the Last Man, flipped through it, saw there were no extras, and sold it a couple of years ago because it just didn't make sense to me financially. So Why the Last Man, I would not upgrade. Now, what about so-called downgrading? Let me pick, where's... I had 2, oh yeah, here it is. Now, here's an example of what you might think is downgrading. Absolute Hush is coming out in an omnibus. The date of this video is mid-January 2019. This is coming out, Hush is coming out in an omnibus. You may say, why should I bother if it's an absolute? Why should I get the omnibus? The omnibus is packed with extra material. Packed with extra material. And I don't mean like sketches, I mean stories. So even, this was the very first absolute I ever read, so I'm very attached to the Jim Lee art and oversized pages. But even I'm considering not so-called downgrading to a smaller size omnibus. So if you have always wanted to own Hush, I would say definitely get the omnibus. If you already have the absolute, the omnibus is going to have extra material. I'm considering it. I'm not sure I'm going to do it. but Riley Moore is probably going to talk me into getting the omnibus, but I'm not sure. It's going to be $125 list price, so that'll probably be on sale. Maybe. I'm on the fence because I read this and loved this, and I don't know that I need any extra. But there's a solid case to be made for that, which leads me to my next book, which I did go from Absolute to Omnibus, the Planetary Omnibus. And the reason I did this is because the two Planetary Absolutes, gorgeous art, no question about it. This is one of my favorite books of all time. Gorgeous art, oversized covers, oversized pages, but this contains a ton of extra stories in it that the Absolutes do not. And that's why I did exactly what I'm considering doing with the Hush thing. I so-called downgraded to an omnibus because it collected so many extra stories that really sort of rounded out the book. So we'll do one more for part one, and then we're going to go to part two. Here's a book that people have been dying for in a bigger collected format. And I said the other night to Riley that I was not going to upgrade this to Absolute. Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. Looking through it, I wasn't sure that I felt the artwork needed, that I needed the artwork in oversized format. Looking through it now, I'm kind of sort of wanting to maybe get it, but I had to go through a lot to get these Swamp Thing books because a couple of them are out of print and hard to find. When I am attached to a book, I tend to want to hold on to it. So if you are one of the ones that has Swamp Thing in trade paperback, definitely get the Absolutes. If you got it in standard format and you love it, get the Absolute. I am still on the fence, but my advice to you is to get the Absolutes. I believe there are going to be 3 of them to collect the 6 Swamp Thing books. I think that may be something I seriously consider doing. The artwork, to me, I'm not sure. It's a personal preference thing. Does it really need to be upgraded? I don't know. It is one of the best stories ever written. So to have that in a prestige format like Absolute, that may be hard to pass up. So thank you for tuning in to part 1. And coming up next is going to be part 2. So please like my video if you can. Hit the thumbs up button. And please subscribe. And I answer all comments, negative or positive. I answer them. If you're nice enough to write me one, I will answer it. So peace and love, peace and love. Thank you for watching this video.